Someone's chewing in the
Stop
mic.
chewing.
So, like, hearing this the whole time. Throughout the entire recording means I have to edit out that, and then when people talk, I have to edit around it and try to, like... The last thing you guys remember is you were all just kind of corralled into this boat. You didn't really talk to anyone much or anything. You just remember people shoving you into the room. Ethan, just as soon as he was on the boat, fell down on the floor. The other two of you went in and they ushered you to this room with beds and put you in it. And Ethan, unbeknownst to him, but known to you guys, he was just out and they weren't able to really move him to a bed. And he's so large, they just moved him to the shortest place where he would be safe, and they just drug him into the same room with you guys. So, you don't remember much, you just remember mostly dwarves, you know, short people, brown hair, pulling you in, and now you begin, and you are awaking in a room. You hear the sounds of oceans. Actually, each person, I'm gonna have you roll a initiative real quick. It's just a d20 plus your initiative. Okay, numbers.
Give me a second.
I got a 3.
Okay, this isn't like a super important thing.
Where do you find initiative again?
It's right in the middle top of your sheet, or it's always going to be your dexterity modifier. It's how fast.
Sorry, it's a 6 total.
Okay. And to be perfectly honest, I'm literally just having you guys roll to get used to remembering. Would you roll, Alyssa? I mean, I see you clicking it a lot. Are you rolling? Yeah. 16. Okay. So anyways, I'm just doing this to see who wakes up first. So Jack is the first to wake up. And the rest of you, pretty soon after, start to wake up as well. With, the dwarf waking up the last. So you guys are just kind of in this room. What do you do?
Are we taking turns or?
No, it's no turns. This is just freeform. I'm just getting you guys used to the rules and what things are.
So, can I like walk over this water over here and see how clean it is?
Sure. So you walk over to this water, and you just kind of look at it. It appears to be, clean enough. You don't really for sure know if it's for drinking or for bathing, but for you, you've never worried about that too much. Your constitution has always been fine. You've drank water that's a bit murky before and been okay. So you are thirsty.
So I'm gonna, I'm gonna like stick my hand in there and like scoop some out and drink a little bit.
Okay.
Cause like I want to be, not, like I don't know these people yet. Like normally I would stick my head in and be like, but I don't know these people really. So.
All right, so you scoop your hand down and take a little taste of it, and you realize that it's mostly clean. It's a slight bit salty, but it's nowhere near as salty as seawater would normally be. It's just very slightly salty. It seems like the salt has been trying to take, like they tried to take salt out of it. So it's just water with a tad of salt.
All right, so I give me a few handfuls.
All right. So you get you a few handfuls of water and drink up. You were very thirsty, so this is fantastic for you. And between that and your rest, we're going to go ahead and reset your hit points to max.
Awesome.
And you all had exhaustion that you've now lost. You no longer have your exhaustion. You have your spell slots back, Alyssa.
Okay. Cool.
And then, so after I give me a few drips of water, I'm gonna.
Well, hold on.
press my ear.
Zach was saying. Yeah.
Sorry.
You were saying something, Zach?
Yeah, I want to walk. I want to, look around the room and go to the door, the nearest door, and see if I can open it.
Okay. And Jack, what are you doing?
Jack's observing right now. He doesn't really know these two people, but he's interested in.
Are you staying in bed? Are you doing anything?
I'm sitting on the edge of the bed,
Alright, so we'll leave you right
propped
there.
up.
All right. So, you walk over, and Ethan, you were saying you were going out the door, or sorry, Garen.
Yeah.
All right. So as you go, you see he's also going out the door. You guys say anything to each other? You see him fall over. You fall over. Do you guys say anything, or?
I tell him to keep his guard up.
I kind of look at him and was like, "Hey, did we check the chest over there?"
I can check the chest.
Like, it's not necessarily to him. I'm just like, "Did we check the chest?"
I think the chest is the least of our worries, but we could go ahead and check it.
Jack can check it. Jack's right beside it.
All right.
Let's have Jack check it.
Okay. What are you checking it for? What are you doing?
I'm going to see if it's locked or not.
Okay. You go to touch it, and it doesn't appear to be locked. Seems like it'll open fine. It has a spot for a lock, and there's no lock on it.
I want to open it.
Okay, as you open it, you see what appears to be some nice fresh clothes, and that have been put there for you guys. There is some clothing and a few other select items. It appears that there are there's a flask in there. There's a set of fine clothes that you think would fit you. There's also a set of common clothes that are much, much larger that would not fit you at all, but you think that they would probably, just by looking at them, would fit Garen. And then whenever you look in the last one, you see that there is a set of clothes that have like various little pockets on them and things like that that appear to be like if it fit you, it'd fit a bit looser, but it appears to be like almost like it's tailored for the dwarf in your group, Zacchaeus. So it appears that this is just clothing for you guys, and at this moment you realize, as you look around, that you're still wearing your tattered clothing that's just kind of roped on. You look over at Garen, and upon further inspection, our heroes realize that Zacchaeus was still naked, and that they were all covered in various degrees of sand and filth. With the clothing, Jack also discovers a flask that may be of value, but does not investigate it further. They all decide to bathe and get dressed before venturing out. Upon leaving the room, they step upon the deck of the ship, meeting some of the crew. They are immediately met by Terra and Felcor, whom they begin to ask questions, but get few answers. They learn who captains the ship, and that the captain has received orders, but they know not from whom. Captain Marnath has currently taken them to a place called Gravenhurst for an unknown purpose. Being unarmed and on a boat out at sea with no seafaring experience, our heroes decide to play along. For now. So, okay, put your guys back where they go. So yes, anyways, as I was saying, Captain Marnath is in charge here, but we will not be revealing to you. Put your guys back. We're going legit. Yeah, sorry anyone watching. My recording cut out, so I don't know what all was missed, but I'll fill it in as far as what happened. So anyways, moving on. So yes, we will not be revealing why we were instructed to take you to Gravenhurst, but just suffice to say that you aren't. We'll just say beggars cannot be choosers. Of course, I mean no offense, but had we not saved you, you would be dead. And then
That's fine.
you see Tara say, "Yeah." She says, "And I was probably the most integral part to your saving." And you see she shapeshifts into a lion, and you can recognize this lion as one of the lions that was set to attack you. And she kind of shapeshifts back.
You're a kitty cat.
She's like, I have my talents just as you have yours.
Oh, acceptable. Nice.
She's also not that big. Jesus. She's like taller than Ethan. She's normal human size. So,
Though you may not be able to tell us where we're going, can you at least offer us some armor and weapons?
Yes, although I did tell you where you're going. You were going to the to Gravenhurst, or at least slightly off the coast. Gravenhurst is rather close to the coast. Amy, if you want more information on where you're going, it's near the east. It's near the forests. It's also near the ocean. Obviously, we're on a boat. As far as weapons and armament, we have some things, but other things we perhaps could give you materials to help you create what it is you want. You would have to talk to Braktar on the lower decks for that. But yeah, you're going to be on this ship for almost another 2 months, so I suggest that you make good use of the time to create whatever it is you need, or perhaps find a way to bargain with the members of our ship, or ask us for what exactly do you need? You say weapons and armaments. That's a very broad category. What would you like?
I'm looking for scimitars and bow and arrow.
Well, I believe we do have some swords, but I don't know if we have a bow. Perhaps we could. Do you know how? Sigmund knows more about these things. I can't really say, what we would do about a bow, but I do know we have some various other weapons in the lower decks as well.
Do you also?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Do you also have any heavy ring metal armor?
Yes, I believe we would have something like that in the lower decks as well. I'm just not quite sure if we would have precisely what it is that you're looking for, but again, I really just handle tending to your wounds, and you seem rather lively. It seems like my job is mostly done. If you have anything religious to discuss, or if you need prayer,
to the lower decks.
Okay. So you see Zacchaeus just kind of like just one track mind. He just starts walking to the lower deck.
The fella down there about some weapons and armor.
Yes. What exactly is it that you need?
I'm looking for scimitars and bows and arrows.
Scimitars. Ha! That's funny. A dwarf with a scimitar? And he just kind of is twirling this stick around constantly. He's playfully making fun of you, but he's also sort of insulting your dwarf heritage a little bit. He's also a dwarf, and he's like, a dwarf with a scimitar. He's like, why do you want a scimitar?
None of your business why I want a scimitar.
Can you even use a scimitar? Are you what are you skilled at all?
Now, let's see. You find me one, I'll show you how skilled I am.
Oh, now that I like. That I like. Anyways, I'll Tell you what, I'll let you go down and talk to Braktar. That'll be entertaining. So the other two of you, what are you doing? He's over here. Just kind of leaps back and is.
I just kind of look around and like, I'm done here, and I start to follow Zacchaeus down.
All right, so you're following him. Jack, what do you?
I'm a follow too. I don't want to be alone. I don't really know these people that well.
So as you start to
I know
follow,
the big guy better.
you hear Tara start to say to Hooker, like, we got to keep an eye on that last one. Very few words spoken. So as you go to the lower decks, you enter this room, and you go in. You go down these stairs, and you come up. There doesn't appear to be anyone in here. There's like a table. This appears to be like what is like a very meager mess hall. There's just various barrels around. You can see the light shining down through the grate. And so, what do you guys do in here?
I want to see what's on the table.
Yeah, same.
All right, so you go to look at the table. There's some various what appears to be food rations set out, various silverware, some platters, things of that nature. This is a table for eating.
Okay, so after we realize there's just food on it, I start to venture back here, and
Okay.
I want to knock on this door.
You knock, and there's no answer.
So I kind of reach forward and I jiggle the handle to see if it's locked.
So you jiggle it, you realize it is locked, and you can hear from the upper deck a woman yell at you, and it's like, I suggest you don't try and go in my room. Won't go well for you. It's like armory in in the bedrooms. It's a great way to do things. Go ahead and take a step back. What are the other two of you doing right now?
I am. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna speak to Ethan's character. Hey, big guy, come back over here. We don't wanna...
he's already en route.
Yeah.
How do I spin my character again?
Q and E. Zoolander over here. I can't turn left.
I'm gonna sit at this table and have a bite to eat.
After getting yelled at, I just kind of sit on the floor because I realize. Or can I sit in the chairs?
Yeah, you can sit in the chairs.
Okay.
It's like a kiddie table to you, but you can. The table's designed for mostly dwarves sized people.
So like on my knees pressed up against it?
Yeah, you're kind of like squatting, like with your knees kind of pushed back, but you're up against the table, kind of hunched over it. So you guys are sitting down, you're eating?
Yeah.
So you eat,
Yeah.
You seem to be, fine, you've eaten up, and it's just kind of just these metal, metallic plates and various stuff, and then there appears to be like some packaged stuff on the corner, and you're just kind of sitting at this table. While you're there, do you guys talk to each other at all or anything?
Yeah. It's like, I kind of look forward and like, I'm glad you fit at the table.
Who you talking to?
You, the person in front of me, so that'd be these guys.
Zacchaeus.
So, Jack, what do you expect is waiting for us when we make landfall?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I trust you guys so far.
I kind of look at him and go, I expect land.
Really?
I mean,
That's great.
I would hope so.
I would expect it too.
I've never really stepped foot in a boat before.
I'm surprised.
I was always a mountainous guy.
You were what?
I like mountains.
Oh yeah. Okay. Zacchaeus, what are you up to?
I'm just sitting here wondering.
I'm curious about the dude with the commander in charge, and like when I say commander, I put quotation marks around it with my hands. I don't like it.
They seemed alright. Not really, but better than the people I've been with.
I
Or-
guess the
How
only thing
Been around.
to do is wait and see.
How do we get down from here? Find that one dude.
I kind of want to look around. What do you guys think?
I looked around and almost got shot.
Well,
Yeah, I
you
say,
looking in bedrooms.
How was I supposed to know it was a bedroom?
I say we split up in here and let's have a look around.
Alright.
Alright.
So,
Okay.
so I come over here and I knock on this door.
You hear a click
I'm gonna try
from
it this
above, and you look next to the doors, and you can see there appears to be little placards that say things on them.
What does mine say? Can I read it?
What languages do you speak?
I'm pretty sure it's. Oh, I need to have.
Okay. So you grab that and two decent size handful. I'll say you get two of them, which
Alright. I wasn't sure like how big they were.
there you go. You got them.
Alright.
Are you saying
So
anything?
then-
Are you saying anything? Remember, no one's aware of what you do or anything. So
So like as I grab these two, I kind of like after I grab them, I kind of walk out. I'm like, I found.
you okay? Don't worry about actually facing your character so much. Like, yeah, you can,
I
but
look
yeah.
at, I kind of like look at Jack and go, "Hey, tell Zacchaeus that there's food in here, and also there's obviously food in here. There's
Hey, Zacchaeus, there's food in here. In this back room, I guess. Where he came out. The big
Okay.
guy. What's in this room? Hey, Zacchaeus, can you read what's on this door?
I got the first.
I think so.
Yeah, you can. Are
Okay, I
you
want to read what.
okay?
I'm
So
gonna read
you,
what's on the door.
so you read it, and it's like a wooden placard next to the door, and carved into it, it just it says some other things you can tell have been scratched out, and finally at the end it just says like, basically like the dwarven word for workshop. And a workshop, the word that's used, it can mean anything. It's very non-specific. It can mean like tool shed. It can mean blacksmith. It could mean wood shop. It's just like workshop basically.
Okay, I want to try to open it and get in.
Yeah, you open it. It opens just fine. You can just walk right in.
Okay.
I kind of.
I want to look around the room and see if there's anything in here that I could use.
You can hear Sigmund from up above looking down at you through the grate, and he's just like, what is it you need? He's like, Braktar's on the lower deck. I asked you what you wanted. You said weapons. Are you lost?
No, I'm not lost. Just curious.
Just curious? He's like, well, that's a workshop. He's like, do you know how to use tools? And you can tell again by the way he says this that he's kind of jabbing at the fact Like, asking a dwarf if they know how to use tools is almost like an insult.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and walk out of the room. I want to find the stairs to the lowest deck.
Are you going to respond to him?
No.
Alright, so Zach's like, F this guy. So, anyway, you find a workshop in there and you walk. There is a door over here, you notice. It goes down just like the other two of you. What are you guys doing?
I'm kind of listening to Zacchaeus, and I'm just like, I'm gonna follow this dude. He wants a weapon.
Okay. Jack, what are you doing? Jack, I don't know if you're muted or not.
Jack.
Jack.
I'm back.
Start
Sorry.
play the Titanic theme. Da-na-na-na. If the boat crashes, Jack has to die because of the Titanic.
Hey, we're leaving this compartment. You coming with us?
Yeah, I'm asking you
Okay,
what are you
But
doing?
yeah, here I
Yeah.
come. I'm gonna follow the big guy.
All right, so you guys go. Who's going in?
I'm going
First.
in first.
All right, so
I'll
you
be
walk
loud.
in, and as you walk down the steps, immediately, this dog-like creature has pounced on you, and has you kind of like pinned back. And then you see someone kind of jump, and kind of flips up on the table, whoosh, and he's just kind of holding this flaming like mace thing and a dagger in the other hand. He's just like, ah, who's there?
My name is Zacchaeus.
And the
I'm
dog,
part of the group y'all picked up.
oh, one of the passengers. And then he's like, get back, you mangy. He kind of like goes to smack at the dog, and before you can hit it, it just like jumps back, and is basically dodges this, and he's like, ha, nimble like me, trained him well. And then he's kind of like, anyways, what can I help you with?
I'm here to see what you have. I'm looking for bows and arrows and scimitars or something similar.
He's like, we don't have bows and arrows, unfortunately. Are you an archer?
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's good. It's good. Like archers. Always like the old ways. It's like, seems nowadays dwarves don't respect the old ways. They all like their newfangled machines, and kind of gestures up. The time he's like, they all like these crossbows. Requires no skill. Don't care for it. He's like, so we don't have any bows. We have crossbows. He's like, but what I can say is, do you know how to carve a bow? You do.
Yes, I do.
Okay. He's like, tell you what, and he you see him just kind of kick over one of these barrels, and it just kind of like crushes, and you see like all this just metal crap is kind of like falling out of it, and he's like, take it, and he pries off one of the boards, and he looks at it, and he's like, this is a piece of crap. He throws it away, and he pries off another, keeps prying, and then he finally finds a board that looks alright. He's like, you can take that. He's like, you could probably fashion a decent enough bow out of this. He's like, we got 2 months. He's like, is there anything else you need? He's like, I like you. I like the old ways. And he's kind of like jabbing at you. He's a lot friendlier towards you than the other dwarf.
I'm looking for scimitars.
He's like, scimitars. He's like, He's like, I see. It's all about style, this one here. Well, I tell you what, I don't know if we have any scimitars. He's like, we do have some basic arming swords, short swords. You probably could get them altered. He's like, I don't know how to do that myself. He's like, I never hear the end of it from Sigmund, but I don't know how to make them into a scimitar. He's like, a scimitar is basically just a curved short sword. He's like, but I'm quite sure you could, where there's a will, there's a way. He's like, I do have that though. He's like, do you want those?
Yeah, I'll take them.
Okay. So, he hands you 2 short swords. Aren't you guys happy I got all these little cards so you don't have to write everything down?
Yeah. So as he's handing him his short swords, I kind of look at him. I'm like, "Do you have?"
He's like, "Oh, jeez, oh my!" And then you see the dog kind of like jumps back up again and immediately jumps overboard. But the dog's just like, and like is absolutely like standing to like guard, but is also frightened. He's like, yeah, what do you need? And the dog's kind of like backing up with him and following his lead.
And it's like, I either want a battle axe or a quarterstaff.
He's like, well, it's like, I tell you what, I don't have too much, that would be, overly useful, as an axe. He's like, I know it sounds, kinda silly to a bunch of dwarves with no axe, right? And he's kinda like, but, we actually don't have any axes that don't directly, belong to someone is the issue. And, a dwarf and his axe, you can't, you just can't separate. Any kind of gestures over to you. He's like, this guy knows. A dwarf and his axe, we're inseparable. He's like, the only axes we have are personally owned. He's like, and the only quarterstaff I know of is, ordered by Sigmund. He's like, but I'm not quite sure, how useful quarterstaff would be for you anyway. He's like, are there any other weapons you might like? And he kind of starts looking around through stuff.
Do you have any sword that would fit me better than a short sword?
He's like, and he kind of starts to laugh. He's like, well, not exactly. He's like, I have this, which you're welcome to. And he throws you a dagger, and you can tell he just kind of is laughing because it's clearly smaller than the short swords. He's like, I don't know that it fits you exactly though. He's laughing, and then the dog is kind of like mimicking him and laughing with him.
And then I was like,
but he's like, but surely, he's like, let me see what I do have. And he starts searching. Are there any other weapons you want to throw out? Possibly.
And then,
or other
I also,
things.
like, shout, like, do you have any big pieces of wood with a handle on it? Like, kind of.
It's like a big piece of wood with a handle on it. And he's just kind of looking around, and
then, like, as
he's
looking,
like,
I'm like, to block things.
he's like, I have this, and he hands you what appears to be he's like, it's not wood, but it may be something better, and he hands you a shield. It's he's like, it's, and he, as he's lifting it, it's like it's too big for him. He's like, it's a bit unwieldy. No one likes it. He's like, but someone like you could probably use it fine. And he hands you this large heavy metal shield.
Like, perfect.
He's like, oh yeah. So he's like, now that one fits you. He's like, there anything else you want? He's like, what do you do?
I'm a paladin.
He's like, oh, a paladin? Like, very nice, very nice. He's like, let's see what we have in here. He's like, some of the other paladin things you may need to talk to Felcor about. He's like, I can give you this. Felcor didn't like it. He said it was too long, but you could use this perhaps. That might suit you. Once we dock, you might be able to find you a better weapon later. But we've got that. It's like a big fella, like, you can probably wear that. He's like, how much can you carry? Yeah, you can probably take this. Let's see, anything else you'd probably need to talk to Felcor about. He may have some more paladin gear for you. He's like, but this, I mean, I figure just about anything you swing at someone's gonna do some damage, so you can take these. It ought to be something. And then he kind of looks at Jack in the back. He's like, I already know what you're all about. He's like, I don't know if the other two of you can tell, but this one's shady as hell. It's like, what the hell do you want? And he kind of jumps up on the barrels, and in front of the warg, which you guys can now tell is a warg, which you know is normally like a pet that is not typically for a dwarf, but for an orc. And you can recognize this, Jack. You know what a warg is. The other two, maybe not, but you're familiar with orcs. And you recognize this warg, and he jumps between, almost like he doesn't trust you to get near the warg. So what do you say, Jack?
Oh, I just was hoping for maybe a sickle or dagger, maybe.
It's like,
something light.
I gotta look at her. I hand her the dagger he threw at me earlier.
Okay.
Or look at Jack.
Well,
So,
as you doing that, he's like, you might want to keep that. He's like, I have more daggers. Daggers are nothing. And he throws her 2 daggers, I mean, we got these all over the place, and you do notice the daggers he gives to her are more balanced than the ones he gave you. The one he gave you is fine. It's just hers appear to be more they're lighter weight, essentially.
What was the second item he gave me that was too long for fun?
Oh, it's the Swarhammer. It's a hammer,
right.
but it has a longer handle.
All right.
And I can explain how these things work to you game wise in just a second. As far as like what it is and what's different about it. He's like, so 2 daggers? He's like, I mean, do you want anything else?
So I'm assuming you don't have any sickles?
Dang it! Oh my.
He's like, I might have a sickle. I can look around a bit in the back, and as he's looking, he's like, while I'm back here, is there anything else you want? And then so
Yes.
he's starting to get annoyed, and he's like, oh, we're back to this one now. What do you want? So he's listening. I'm looking through stuff.
Do you have anything in the way of armor?
It's like, well, it depends. What kind of armor are you looking for?
Leather.
It's like, oh yeah, we have some of that. I'll get you that in just a moment.
And then I look at. I was like, armor. I need some ring mail.
He's like, oh, this one's dense as hell. He's like, I gave you ring mail.
Oh.
It's like, that's what the metal stuff, the big pile of metal, that's ring mail. Oh.
You have to excuse our friend. He has very short-term intelligence.
Oh, that's unfortunate that. He's like, but Jack, is there anything else you want?
No, I heard you
No,
talking about a quarterstaff. But if you don't have any of those, it's fine.
I kind of kind of, in a friendly way, kind of bump Jack on the arm and you could make a quarterstaff. We have the intelligence for it.
I kind of get jostled over and hit the wall a
Anyways,
little bit.
he goes, here's this, and he flings this sickle at you. Make a reflex save.
Okay, hold on. $14.
So he whips it 8 plus 4. He whips it at you, and you kind of, go to dodge, and you let it go past you, and then catch it after. And he's like, "Yeah, I knew a shifty one when I saw it." He's like, "There's your sickle." He's like, sadistic this one, I tell you. And he's like, "Who uses a sickle, honestly?" Luckily, I had a sickle, so it gives you that, and he's like, there anything else you need? He's like, you seem like the shady type. He's like, we might have more things that could be useful for that. I'm not sure.
I look at him, I'm like, can I pet the big doggy?
I wouldn't pet the big doggy.
He's like, how familiar are you with wargs? You aren't familiar at all. What do you say?
I'm very familiar. I had one growing up.
Make a deception check.
Oh. 16.
He's like, oh, okay. I'm sure.
I'm gonna walk out of the room now.
I follow.
The other two start backing up, and you go to pet the warg, and the warg is ripping you to shreds. The warg is kind of like backing away and just won't let you touch it. She's like, and at all your approach, Braktar just kind of laughs. He's just like, oh, are you sure what you had was a war? And you go to try and pet it, and it kind of flips off the wall and jumps over here, and it is extremely agile, and it's just you're not catching it no matter what you do. It's like it doesn't appear to want to be petted by you.
I whispered to Zacchaeus, I'm like, I think he thinks it's a dog.
All right, so he's like, you're just walking away. Not even. All right, I get whatever. Strange folk.
It
these
doesn't
ones.
like me, obviously.
He's like, yeah, but I mean, don't even say goodbye, or just all right.
Thank you for your assistance.
Thank you for the shield. Should I get their phone?
I go a little closer. I'm like, thanks a lot. It's real nice that you would let me have some nice items.
It's like,
Anyway.
all right,
Bye-bye.
I guess that's all you guys want. All right, see you later.
I'll come
Oh wait,
back
one
later.
more thing.
Doggy.
It's like, oh, what is it now?
How did you train that little guy over there?
He's like, well, I don't know if little would be the word I would use, and you can see he jumps up, and he's on his back, and he's mounted now on this large dog creature. He's like, but we've been together, and he's kind of like ruffling the side of his mouth, and it's all happy, and you can see it's a lot more dog-like now, and you can see its teeth, in its jaw. You can tell there's a lot of more power. It's almost bear-like in its forward-facing part of its body, and his claws and stuff, and he's just kind of like happily, and he's putting his hand in its mouth and everything. You can tell he has total joy. He's like, I've known this one since it was a puppy, and well, let's just say we have a long history. He's like, we've been together as long as I can remember.
Wow, that's
And
really interesting.
Sorry to interrupt, but you said before I leave, you said you had some leather armor for me.
oh yes, that's right. And then he starts digging through again, and he finds this. He's like, is studded leather okay?
That is fine.
He's like, it better be. It's all we have. There you go. And he throws you that.
Thank you. I will be on my way now to work on my bow.
Okay. So you have a board and the various items I gave you.
I kind of look at it and I ask, is there any books over dragon history on this boat?
History. Now that's an interesting one. The only one on the boat who I know who has any real interest in history would be Frang. But usually he tends to sit out near the front of the boat. He's you can think of him as our eyes and ears of the operation. Besides me, of course. He's like, I just I tend to stay below decks, and Frang, he's interesting, that one. Always reading, always a bit of a nerd, to be honest, if I'm quite honest, but yeah, he might be who you would. So he's like, it's funny, you didn't, don't take this the wrong way, but you didn't strike me as the intellectual type, but, it's good that you read. It's a good thing.
I tried to read over my I tried to read over my history as
Yeah, if you mess
young.
up voices, don't worry, it's all good.
As a young-
I think I gave these people like 4 voices each, so so yeah, it's all good. Just practice, as you do it. Basically, what I'm doing. So, you know.
So on that note, I start to leave.
All right. So you guys.
I'm going up deck with.
And as you go up, Sigmund immediately notices you walk through the door. He's like, "Did you find what you need?"
How far are we going? Over here?
I mean,
I know,
you. Okay. Well, we'll say he says it as you reach the top. He's like, "Did you find what you need?" Where are you, Zacchaeus?
Oh, I stayed at the table.
Okay. So you went to the table and all right.
I'm carving. I'm starting to work on the boat.
Okay. So you're kind of carving it with your
My short sword.
All right.
I
You start
thinking
carving
about-
away at it. And as you're doing it, you kind of wish you had some better tools for the process, but you're doing that. And as Sigmund is doing that, he sees you putting these wood shapes. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "Do you have to f up the whole table right now?" He's like, "Please." He's like, "We have a workshop." He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Can't you read?" Yeah, look, do you even read, Dorvish? And he's just mocking you the whole time as you walk in. He's like, "Oh gosh, this guy." And then, he's training and kind of like half-heartedly training as he's talking. He's like, "Anyways, did you guys find what you need?" He's like, "Looks like,
So, how like sturdy is the dummy he's using?
It's not a dummy. It's the mast of the ship, and from the ropes going out to the sails, he has tied on rocks that are just hanging, and he's hitting they're small rocks, like maybe fist size, and he's hitting them with the quarterstaff, and they're swinging.
Oh dang it!
And he's hitting them into each other, and as they swing back, he's dodging and just very fluidly.
As one of these rocks go to swing around, I wish to take my warhammer and go, "I found what I need," and hit the rock at him.
Okay. So, make an attack roll.
Just a D what?
It's a D20.
All right.
Pretty much anytime I say make a blank roll, so you swing at the rock and you just miss. You miss entirely.
Yes.
Like, "I find what I need." And he's like, "Seems like what you need is a big fat slow target." And he just kind of pokes you with the stick and then hops back, and he starts mocking you now as well. He's like, "Ha!" He's like, I don't understand what our patron sees." And then you hear Terrace like, "Shh," and just immediately he's like, "You took the oath of silence just as we did." And he's like, I know," and he stops talking.
I look at Falcor and I'm like, "Patron, what?
He's like, "Oh, the one that I said we won't be telling you about." He's like, "Yeah, the one." And then Tara's like, "Stop giving them more information." It's like,
What?
"You're all fools." And then he just goes to smack Falcor, and this time he does not block or anything. He just gets bashed, and you see he gets bashed pretty good. He's just like, "Ah." It's like, "Ah, right, of course." And then she kind of like comes up to you with this wooden spike shield and starts to like almost lean into it. It's like, "You need to stop asking questions."
And on that note, I take my shield. Was I able to get my shield between me and her spike shield?
Yes.
So
She's not like attacking you. She's just kind of leaning forward, more like in an intimidating fashion, to basically be like,
yeah.
and I want you to roll a perception check.
Alright.
I want to move on up to the top deck, see what's going on.
15.
Yeah, you hear this ruckus and you come up. So you look and you're trying to basically discern what her motives are in this moment, and you just have a feeling about this person that they are not evil by any stretch, that their alignment you would say is, if you had to guess an alignment, you would say lawful good. That they seem to be very much like, she seems to almost be trying to protect you more than the identity.
I'm not by the computer. You have to move my character.
Yeah, I moved you up there.
So,
But this is, you see that she's using your divine sense that you have as a paladin. You can feel her alignment is lawful good, and that she has your best interests. That she's not trying to harm you with this deception, with withholding information from you.
So, with that, with gaining that knowledge, I still decide to go off and show my intimidation factor and say, "Get off me!" And I
Okay.
shove her with the shield.
All right. So
not very hard. Just
right.
Like off.
You kind of go to shove, and it pushes her back. She definitely has to take a few steps back away from you when you do that. Roll an intimidation check.
10, and then I don't know what my.
You're proficient. You should be, if I recall.
Intimidation 3. So
Yeah.
be
So
13.
13, and then she's like, I was chosen for this precisely because I don't scare very easily. She's like, you will not find out that information. She's like, I will kill everyone on this ship before I let you know. And she is not intimidated whatsoever.
On that note, I'm like, well, seeing how your alignment, or going off your alignment, I think your deity is a lawful good one. Like, just kind of throwing out the information, like, how much do I actually know? Like,
what exactly are you saying to her? What are you saying? What are the words?
like, I look at her and go, based off your alignment, your deity must be lawful good.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know, but like I'm just gonna.
You would say
throw that
something. You would say something more along the lines like, "I can tell you're a good person, and you're just following the rules." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't say the
Yeah.
term alignment or whatever, because that's gamey or whatever. But yeah, I get what you're saying. So you're saying that, and she's like, you can trust me, and I follow a strict code of conduct. And then Falcor is like, yeah, she it's like, yes, she keeps us all in line. It is rather important that you do not know.
Alright. And then
Sigmund goes, he kind of hops over here, and he's still training this whole time. And he's like, oh, what's the matter, Zacchaeus? He's like, do you need some help making your bow? And he's like, do you need me to come show you how those tools work?
so
And he sees you with your half-carved board.
So as one of the
I want to put down the board and challenge him to a fight.
It's like, okay, so what do you say?
But right before that happens, I wish to like grab the rocks as they swing at me. I wish to grab one of the rocks and rip it off the pit.
Okay, so you're just grabbing a rock and trying to rip it down?
Yeah, like getting tired of his training.
As you go to grab the rock, he just kind of smacks your hand, and he's like, he's like, please, do not interrupt his training. He basically says something along the lines of like, this training is important to his beliefs. He's like, as a man of faith yourself, I'm sure you understand.
All right.
And Sigmund's like, he couldn't stop it if he tried, and he's just kind of dancing around and all this. So what are you saying, Zacchaeus?
I'm tired of you running your mouth. I want to challenge you to a sparring match.
He's like, oh, okay. He's like, what, if you win, what do you want? You want me to make that bow for you?
No.
He's like, then what is in it for you?
You keep your mouth shut the rest of this trip.
He's like, well, she's like, sure, but that probably won't happen. He's like, you're welcome to try, though. So what are the rest of you doing?
I just kind of, I actually start to head up this way to talk to the frame. But I'm gonna wait till after. Like, I'm more like.
What are you doing in this moment?
Oh, in that moment, I just kind of. I don't know.
You don't care.
I actually like look at.
Are you
Sigmund
watching?
and
Are you
laugh.
walking away? Are you? Yeah, you're just kind of laughing at Sigmund. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Looking for a seat.
all right, so you two kind of go and sit on the. It's like, oh, looks like we have a fight in our hands, and then they're kind of going and they're sitting on one of the lifeboats too, and then you hear from over there, he's like, oh, Melbian, take the wheel, and he's like, I want to see this, and you see this dwarf comes down, and he is absolutely just clad in armor with lots of spikes and symbology just all over it, and this person is armed absolutely to the tooth. And you see as Melbian kind of steps over and takes the wheel of the ship, and comes over, and then so Sigmund doesn't stop training. He's like, well, come on then. I don't have all day. So what are you doing, Zach? He's still dancing, training around, and hitting the rocks. Are you there, Zach?
Yes, I want to take out my swords.
He pulls out the sword, and Philcor's like, whoa, no, we can't take, he's like, we don't want to draw blood, and then Marnath is like, it'll be fine. Sigmund's like, yeah, it'll be fine, don't worry about it, and he just has the staff. He's like, I've fought men with blades before, and Marnath is which you know his name, and they said he was the captain. You saw him leave the wheel, so he's just kind of standing here and he's watching. So you pull out your sword, and Sigmund is still he's only half paying attention to you. He's still just training.
I have two swords, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to pull them both out.
Okay. So you can wield them both. How it will work is your bonus action can be another attack, but it will not be proficient. So whenever you attack, we did this wrong before, but you didn't have any. Well, not wrong, but you didn't have anything you were proficient with. You will add your strength bonus and your proficiency bonus to your attack. So if you look at the sword, it's finesse and light. So what finesse means is that you can use it, you can use your dexterity modifier or your strength modifier, and light means you can use it in your main hand or your offhand. So what that means is you can use both, and you can use your dexterity modifier for attacks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In other words, it's suited well to your character. So Sigmund's like, all right. He's like, show me what you've got. So what are you doing?
Let me do a quick I guess perception check of my the area again to see if there's anything I can use to my advantage.
I mean, I can't, like, what
Like,
you see is you see.
Okay, my question is, I know he has like ropes hanging over the rocks and stuff. How are they? Are they in the way, or how is the area we're fighting in?
There's rocks hanging on ropes at various different heights all around this center post. Mostly on the two sides. You see where the ropes are going off the center mast, and you see where they cross. There's rocks hanging from several of those. All in total, there's maybe about eight rocks on ropes just hanging down. They're literally just hanging there like punching bag target things, and he's just hitting them. And as they swing back, he hits them at different angles and tries to hit one rock into another rock, and he dodges them.
I guess I will do a direct attack. I'm gonna run and try to hit him.
All right, make an attack roll. Okay, so you take what you rolled and you add your proficiency and your dexterity or strength, your choice.
Dexterity, I guess.
Okay, so what would the roll be?
Well, I rolled a 13 plus. Would it be? Is it the 3 that's above the 16?
Yes.
So it'd be 16 total.
Right. Okay, so you roll it, and he isn't paying too much attention to you, and you swing, and it's a hit. What do you roll damage now?
Okay, damage is same one.
No, damage is written on your sword. 1d6. It's piercing.
So it's a 6-sided?
Yep. You roll a d6, and then you will add your dexterity for your damage. Right, so you roll 4 plus your... plus your dexterity.
Which is the 3 again, right?
Right.
Or the 16?
The 3.
Okay, so it's a total of 7. And now can I make it a second attack with my other sword, or?
Yep. Yeah. So for the next one, you do not add your proficiency bonus.
So roll a 20 again?
Right. And I'm writing this down for you. This is the last time I'm going to write it down for you, though. Does that make sense?
Oh, that sucked.
All right, what'd you roll?
A 2.
All right, as you roll the next one, he, you miss it, and he, he wasn't even really trying so much from your perspective. So he does that, and then he comes back, and he makes, he has an attack, and he swings the staff, hits a rock, and he doesn't even aim at you, just hits the rock, and it flies up. Then he spins around again, and he hits you.
Can I block with the swords?
No. Like, your armor class is what he has to beat. So he hits you with he swings it again, and hits you, and does 3 damage. And then, his last attack, he just hits a rock again. So he just, like, He appears to be toying with you, so you take 3 points of damage. So your current hit points, you minus 3. Do you see it here? Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all just to help you learn the sheet. There you go, minus 3. Alright, so there you go. And it's to you again. And he's just kind of laughing. He's like, is that all you have?
No, it's not.
Alright, so what do you do?
Can I decide which sword I'm going to use on, like, which attack, or is my first attack always the proficient one?
You can decide before you roll, but your action is always an attack, and your bonus action is always your secondary attack.
Okay, I want to use my bonus action first and use the sword to knock one of the rocks around toward him. And then I want to attack him whenever he's distracted by the rock.
So what are you aiming at, a rock that's in motion or a rock that's not? Rock that's just hanging
there. A rock
there.
that's not in motion.
Okay.
I want to knock. Use my bonus action to knock it around to him, and then attack him with my attack action when his guard is there.
Okay. All right, so go for it. Roll your 2 rolls. And for the sake of speed, we are going to have you roll, because you're doing 2 attacks, right?
Right, I'm doing the bonus attack on the rock and then the main attack on him.
So we'll say these left ones is your bonus, or your main one, and the right one is your bonus. And you can just roll them all at once. You can highlight and hit R. This is just make it go faster. Does this make sense? So you're rolling both your attacks, yeah. Okay, so you hit the rock, and it goes to fly at him, and it is going to hit, but then you see him just he takes the staff in his right hand, and with his left hand, he catches the rock and kind of flings it, and swings it back around at you. And it does, we'll just use this dice, 2 damage. And then your second attack, you're going for him.
Okay, I had a 6 on that one.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So
already rolled. So it was a 15 and a 6.
Right. I rerolled. I meant to do this dice, but yeah. So your proficient attack, you're going at him, and it goes and it's
basically an 18 and a 6, or yeah.
And
it's 6 and
right.
The 3
right.
got it to both of these, right?
Yes. And
okay, so it's an 18 and a 9.
You do the 9, and you hit him for 9 damage. And he kind of like smiles, and he's like, and he's like, it's very interesting. And then he goes and he makes 3 attacks on you. And what is your armor class?
13.
All right, so he hits you 3 times for 7, 11, or no, sorry, 12, and then 6.
Where are you rolling for him at?
Yeah, I'm rolling it in my screen. So he just kind of whack, whack, whack with this stick, and you realize that you're just outmatched by this guy, and you're hitting, and you're kind of knocked. You're knocked unconscious, and then you kind of come to a few moments later. Falcor, for the second time, he's going to heal you back to full health, and then you can see that Captain Marnath has stepped up, and he's just like, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. And then Sigmund is like, this one may have some fight in him yet. He's like, but you need to learn. And he hops up, and you see him step, and he hops up on these ropes. He's like, you need to learn to be able to judge your opponent. He's like, if you know your enemy, you know yourself. And then he hops down, and he's like, but he's like, I respect you defending your honor. He's like, you are a true dwarf. And then Martin's like, indeed. And all the dwarves are like, aye, and they're all in agreement. And he's like, if you need any help making that bow, feel free to ask me. He's like, not because you need the help, but because sometimes we can learn. And then he hops back up, flips up on the rope, jumps down, and continues training. So, what do you do now? Marnath turns around, and he's going back to his post. What?
I accept your help.
He's like, all right, just let me know when you want to get started, and I'll be done training here within the next couple of hours, and we'll be good. That's hours in game time, not real time. Just to be clear. So, are you gonna head back down and continue working, or?
I will. Yeah, head back down, continue working. Meet me in the tool room whenever you finish training.
He's like, will do. And continues training. And then Falcor's like, you didn't have to be. He's like, yes, I did. And, they're just kind of talking. What are you guys doing? Zach is starting his work time. What are you guys doing?
I am going to just look around.
And I ask,
What? All right. What are you looking for, Jack? Just so I know.
Nothing in particular. I just want to get a feel of the boat. Any nooks and crannies.
Okay.
Just to look around.
Are you looking like in a general sense, or are you looking specifically in a lot of places?
Specifically in a lot of places.
Okay. I want you to make 3 investigation rolls. Don't tell me what they are yet. Just roll them and know what they are. Yeah, D20 plus your investigation, and we're gonna go to Ethan while you do that. So what are you doing, Ethan?
I ask Strong, and I look at him and I go, do you have any books over draconic or dragon history?
Oh, wow, I haven't, I've never met a black dragonborn up close. And he starts, almost like poking and prodding you, and he's kind of examining you. He's like, oh, yes. He's like, I can tell, he's like, the scales, they're not as strong as a true black dragon's, of course. He's like, but the horns are remarkably the same. He's like, this is absolutely, fantastic. He's like, would you, be willing for further exam? What did you ask me? I'm sorry. What did you want?
So I kind of get caught up in his examination too. I'm like, you want to see something really cool? Seeing how we have 2 months on this boat.
Seeing how you have what?
Seeing how we have 2 months on the boat, do you want to see something cool?
He's like, sure. What do you want to show me?
So like, I come to the bow of the ship, and in no general direction except for forward, I spew my acid breath just out in front of me, and it's just this huge display of, I don't want to say power, but just like what I can do.
Then the wind blows it all back on everybody else.
Yeah, actually. So, because the ship is moving. No, you've done it. You've done it. Roll. You're rolling your attack. Roll your.
I'm not doing it.
You have to. You have to.
already did it.
Do it.
Your character, dude. It's so you.
It's an 8.
Okay, it's an 8. So plus your Constitution and proficiency. Okay, now go ahead and roll the damage for it.
What is the damage again? I forget.
And then Zachariah hears everybody screaming.
All right, so you're gonna write this down. Do you see your attacks and spellcasting?
Yeah.
You're gonna write down acid breath 5 times 30 feet, and what's your damage and how to do all that stuff. So sorry, I did that accidentally. Here, let me remove that. Okay. So go ahead and roll it first, but then I want you to copy this down to where it's easy for you to see.
All right.
Like, you need to know what you're adding to it, which is your constitution and your proficiency, and you need to know how much damage it does. So make sure all that's written.
All right. So,
Okay.
what am I rolling? Because I rolled an 8 on.
You're going to look at it and figure out by yourself.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
That's what I'm doing. I'm having you learn it just like Zach learned it. So do your thing.
Oh, hey, Matt.
I'll get back to you. Or yeah, while he figures that out, what were your rolls, Alyssa?
How many rolls was I supposed to take?
3.
Okay, 3. Okay, so 16, 16, and 11.
And is that adding your bonuses?
That's 11.
Oh, just just the what's that word?
Investigation.
Just investigation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
The
So
plus one modifier.
as you're looking, you searching, and you kind of find kind of what's rolled over to the edge of one of the like on the edge of it, you find a piece of chalk, and you also as you're looking, you find what is appears to be a ring that you're not entirely sure what there is about it, and you find these 2 things with your higher rolls. And
Can I keep them?
yes, well, you can get them, sure.
Okay.
What you do with them is up
Cool.
to you. So you have these
So-
2 things.
So I rolled a 6 on damage.
Okay, so I don't remember precisely how resistance works, but it is important for you to know at this point that you as a Dragonborn are resistant to the damage type that you do. You are resistant to acid damage. So
Right.
I think, I don't remember exactly how it works, so I'm going to look up D&D damage resistance. Because you're going to need to know this. Damage resistance and vulnerability. So, if a creature or an object has resistance to a damage type, damage of that type is halved against it. So you need to roll your Constitution save versus your own acid breath. And we'll say you have, because it's acid, I don't know how it works, so I'm going to give you advantage, which means just roll twice. I don't know if I'm going to always give you advantage or not, but I'm giving it to you right now.
8.
Because you were prepared. Alright, so,
Aw.
11 was the higher of the 2.
No, 18. I rolled an 18 earlier.
You said 8, I thought.
No, I said 18.
Okay, 18 plus your Constitution, which is 3, which means you'll resist it, so you have the damage. Then you have it again.
Alright.
Now, we're not going to
So-
actually do the damage to you, but that's how you know the map.
Alright.
So he watches, and you just acid breath yourself all in the face. And he just like crouches down, he's like, whoa, that's amazing. He's like, that would have melted my whole face off. And he's under the impression that you intentionally acid breath your own face. He doesn't realize that you were just a moron. Perfect roleplay.
Oh, just saying.
And he's just giddy with excitement. As you can see, he's practically just shaking with excitement here. For some reason, I don't know why he's jiggling, but it's perfect. He's role playing better than you are. So so he's like, oh, that's amazing. He's like, what was it you wanted?
I wanted a book over dragon history.
It's like a book
Or
over
draconic.
dragon history. He's like, yes, I believe I have some. Although he's like, It's a bit touchy. You can't tell the others if I give you the. He gets really close. He's like, I have several things that you will find very interesting. Can you hear me? I'm whispering. I have several things you'll find very interesting, but you have to keep it a secret. Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
He's like, yes. Over the next 2 months, we will indeed look at a lot of things, and so for the sake of brevity, on your sheet put dragon scroll or dragon scrolls. That's what we'll put. So, so you get that, and Alyssa, you found your various things you found on the boat. Zach is still working away at his thing. What are you guys doing next?
Sorry, I just yawned.
I kind of like take my leather shirt, or I reach past my chainmail and I pull out my leather shirt and I kind of wipe off the extra acid off my face.
Well, it's not leather. Your shirts are just common clothes.
So it just eats through it.
Yeah, it would corrode leather too. But you see, he just kind of wipes his face with his common clothes, and you now have like acid. You know how like when you bleach clothes and there's like slight little holes in them sometimes. Yeah. Basically, you got that kind of thing going on along the chest of your clothes, okay. And you know, that's all it is. So,
did Jack see any of that happen? Or was Jack
you're too focused. You were more or less like crawling around and looking behind barrels and crates and just looking for little things and trinkets and kind of just, you know, like sneakily trying to not be noticed, looking for stuff. Right. So, anything else you guys want to do? What do you want to do next?
I kind of just want, like, I'm really invested in these dragon scrolls now. Like, that's what I really want to do.
Okay. So. Just to remind you, and this will be the last time I do this, so always be ready to pay attention, be ready to take notes. He mentioned that you could talk to Felcor about anything more religious.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So
I'm gonna go walk down and go to Falcor. Dang it.
Alright, and Alyssa, yeah. Jack, are there anything more you want to do?
I've come back up to the top deck.
I think I want to go talk to the big guy.
Which big guy?
Mariner?
You're a big guy, Ethan.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, there's a lot of big people. Alright, so you've come up, Zacchaeus. Jack, tell me what you're doing. Jack first, then Zacchaeus, tell me.
I just go, so what did you find out about anything? Big guy?
Yeah, I kind of look at it and I was like, acid versus wind, wind wins.
Oh! And then I kind of look down at Garen's shirt and kind of understand why there's holes in his shirt now. I kind of giggle. Okay. Then I suggest I notice Zacchaeus. And then Zacchaeus.
Alright, so what are you doing, Zacchaeus? You came back up for something?
Yes, I came up to talk to the dude that I sparred with earlier. Okay.
So what do you want to talk to him about?
I'll say, excuse me. As I was working on my bow, a thought came to me, and seeing how I don't have many fellow dwarfs since I left home, I was wondering if over the next couple months on the ship, if you don't mind helping me get train me a little bit to help get my skills back to where they should be.
He's like, oh, it's no problem at all. He's like, we can do quite a bit. We'll have 2 months. He's like, I don't mind teaching you what I know. He's like, a mind that is empty is like a bowl that is empty. You can feel an empty bowl, but you cannot feel one that is already full. He's like, you must learn to empty your bowl. He's like, there are many things I perhaps can learn from you as well. He's like, I look forward to exchanging our knowledge. He's like, you must always learn to know your enemy, to know yourself. He's like, I don't consider us enemies any longer. He's like, but we've learned a great deal from fighting each other. And so he seems to have taken a real liking. He's like, there's many things we'll do over the next 2 months. All right, is there anything more you want to do at this moment, Jack?
No.
Okay, so what we're going to go into now is it's going to be a long time skip. So we're going to time skip basically to the 2 months ahead. Well, Garen, you were going to talk to Felcor, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask him about if he had any like equipment that I could use being as a religious.
He's like, perhaps. He's like, yeah, we will. Over the next 2 months, we can study whatever it is you like, and I can perhaps. I don't know if we worship the same deities. He's like, but my faith requires that I be accepting of others, and I would not mind helping you. He's like, are you wanting to create an insignia of your religion? Are you wanting to what are you wanting precisely?
I kind of I look at it and I was like, I want to put an insignia on my shield, while also learning about other deities and how they work, because I've only ever worshipped mine.
It's like, oh, okay, for sure. We can do that for sure over the next 2 months. All right, so game talk now. We're doing a time skip. This is called downtime. So this is non-adventure time. You're not adventuring during the next 2 months. You're just what would be amount to like staying in a town, like non-adventure life. And there's various things you can do. You guys have already more or less told me what you want to do, except for Jack, based on what you're saying. So Ethan is going to be doing research and crafting for his insignia. Zach is going to be doing training and crafting to try to curve his swords into scimitars, possibly, and make his bow. And then he's going to train with Sigmund. Jack, what are you wanting to do? And do you want a suggestion for what fits with your character? Or
yes,
do you want... Okay. So what I would suggest, being a charlatan, some of the things you can do are carousing, which is basically just talking to people, getting to know people, being friendly.
Oh, yeah, that was something I was going to say.
So you can do that. On this, it's going to be possibly less effective because of, there's less people on the ship. But, and for this first one, we're not going to do a whole bunch of rolls because, but normally, if you were carousing, you would roll a, after a work week of carousing, a character stands to make contacts with selected social class. The character makes a charisma persuasion check using the carousing table. So you would roll, and a 1 to 5 is you make a hostile contact. 6 to 10 is no effect. 11 to 15 is you made an allied contact. 16 to 20, you make 2 allied contacts. 21 plus is you make 3 allied contacts. So we're not going to do, and the amount of, so there's also things where you can do favors for people, try to get,
on their good side?
Yeah, and then there's also complications that can happen. So, let's say, here's an example of middle-class carousing complications. You accidentally insult a guildmaster, and only a public apology will let you do business there again. You swore to complete some quest on behalf of a temple or guild. A social gaffe has made you the talk of the town. A particularly obnoxious person has taken an intense romantic interest in you. I'm not necessarily going to use these tables exactly, but the whole point is, sometimes a negative effect can happen. Also. Okay. That's not necessarily... So, you agree to do a quest, that's not negative exactly, but it's I can use it for story purposes. So, for this one, we're just going to have, we're going to basically get you the rest of your starting gear. But in the future, you can do stuff like gambling to get money. You can do stuff like carousing to try and hobnob with shop owners and possibly get jobs or quests. You can also just work. So like, for example, you can also train a skill, try and learn something specifically. You can do, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like, basically the idea is I'm going to use this next 2 months to get your characters to their true level 1 state. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where you have your equipment you would start with, your everything like that. So I'm just gonna talk through what happens here real quick. All right, Zacchaeus, over the next 2 months, you are training with Sigmund, and you are learning the various tools of the trade, and you're sharing things back and forth, and he teaches you in this process. You learn how to smith, and he graciously gives you a set of tools. He teaches you the old dwarven ways, and you learn more of that. He gives you some supplies. He helps you create your bow. He also helps you curve these short swords into scimitars. For the time being, they're just going to be what they like. These are scimitars because it's just a flavor thing right now, but their stats are the same. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have, they're martial melee weapons. They're still finesse. They're 1d6 piercing, but they are scimitars. So you basically just curve the edges slightly. Later on, you can try and get better or like actual scimitars. And I know now that you want scimitars as your weapons type, so I'll try to facilitate that. And so you do that, and I also will say you are now have made friends with Sigmund. You two are close, so I'll give you the carousing bonus of making a positive contact with that. So with you, Ethan, we are going to have you talking with Frang and with Felcor, and you're going to, in the process of this, you are going to create your religious insignia, which we are going to say is your shield, and it's carved into it. And you also are going to get some various supplies that will help you in your journey. And you learn from Felcor not only religious practices, but you learn some things about healing and medicines as well, just through talking and your curious nature, because your character, free thinking, inquiry, and curiosity are pillars of progress, so you're all about that. And you chose the solver, so you were curious and you wanted to learn even more than just that. And you learned a little bit about other religions, but your character is not, you have trouble retaining the information even though you hunger for it. So you have a proficiency in religion, which you technically already had, but this is why you have it, partially because of your paladin background and learning about that, and trained on this ship for 2 months with Felcor, who is a cleric. So instead of a -3, you only have a -1 for religion now. Yay. So yay. So there's that. And you have some knowledge about that, and you have your dragon scrolls, which are the thing from your hermit background. So Alyssa, what you've done is they see that you've gotten that, and so through your carousing, and you get to know Frang a little bit more, and you kind of befriend the dog a little bit, and you get to know Melbian, and you realize Melbian is a little bit of a shady type like you too, as well as Frang, and they teach you a game called Dragon's Ante. So this is going to be your game that is proficient. You never picked an exact one. Do you want cards or dice? Because I have cards for you. Okay, so you have this deck of cards called, it's a Dragon's Ante, and it's a game that's played throughout various places throughout the land. And proficiency with this gaming set allows you to add your proficiency bonus to any ability checks you make playing games using 3 Dragon's Ante set. So what this means is it's a proficiency. You will roll. You make a ability check for the game itself, and you are proficient with that game, like you were good at the game. So some things that they also teach you further. From your background, you start to realize that when you're the dealer, especially, using your sleight of hand, you can sometimes, at the risk of being found out, so you didn't do it too much because you didn't want to disrupt your chances on this ship, but you figured out that you sometimes can try and cheat with sleight of hand to improve your score. And through gambling and stuff, you got a bit of money, so we're going to give you 100 gold coins. So that's what you got.
Okay.
And Ethan, you got all the things I said, and Frang, you and Frang have a bit of an affinity for each other, and Jack and Melbian have a bit of an affinity for each other. So there's that. You are now arriving to shore. You guys didn't see too much about what was going on along the way. You did notice that in 2 months of travel, you didn't really run into any issues, which, you know, you had heard that sailing can be perilous and, you know, full of danger. So you're a little bit surprised that, you know, you didn't run into anything along the way. But you go over time, and then you dock at Gravenhurst, or near Gravenhurst, and you're there now. And so this is what you guys do now. So if all the cards I've given you is equipment, you now have all of these objects. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I can't look at them right now. I'm not at the computer.
But I'll lay them out for you a bit. But you've got, they gave you a bit of food, some packs. So Zach, you've got 2 swords, you've got a dagger, you have a hunting trap, a quiver with arrows. And I'm actually going to give you, I have a bag that you have 20 arrows. So you do use arrows as you fire and stuff, and you are going to have to eat. It's not going to be like super stringent, like we're not going to be counting calories and counting meals per day and whatever, but just know in general it costs money just to be. You're going to have to eat food, get lodgings, those kind of things. You have all been given some rations. Ethan is going to have extra rations because he also stole some and was never found out. So
Which is weird because I'm the biggest guy there.
well, I mean, you just, you know, basically Melbian was like, I don't care what you do, ain't my rations. So you guys are docked off the coast, so what do you do?
I guess the first thing we need to do is go find a place to stay.
Yeah, I feel like get a nice hotel. I don't feel like sleeping on the floor again.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just so you guys know, I did have a decent bit planned more. Everyone still wants to end at 12 though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you dock, Tara comes and she's giving you instructions. She's like, okay, now, we're not going to pull up all the way to Gravenhurst. This is where we part ways. I was instructed to give you these instructions, that you were to walk this way, and she starts explaining the path to go from like the docks, how to get to Gravenhurst. And so it's like, you're going to go to a tavern called the Beggar's Flask. That's where I suggest you stay. She's like, this is enough money for you all to stay for the night in a medium quality room. At least medium quality for the Beggar's Flask. And she gives you the money. She's like, you give them this money, you stay there tonight. She's like, and that's all the instructions I was told to give you. It's like, from here on, we part ways. And perhaps we'll see each other one day again. And she kind of like looks into each of your eyes as she says that, and then she's like, so we'll see you. So what do you guys do?
say thank you and start say goodbye to everybody and start departing.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for all you've done.
I kind of like. Are we docked this time?
Yeah, you're docked right now.
All right. So, is there anything in front of the ship that I should worry about?
I mean, not really. Other than, as you walk up, Frank's just like, "Hey, don't do that right now. We're trying to keep a low profile."
Oh, okay.
It's like I appreciate the parting gift you wanted to give me, but it's not a good time. So, and
That's
you actually
absolutely-
like, okay. So, that is that. So you guys depart.
Yeah. Yeet.
All right,
Yeah.
who's leading the way
I am.
among the instructions? Okay. I'm gonna have you each roll. Well, I'm gonna have Ethan because Ethan's leading right now. He's trying to roll a survival check.
13. Do I add any?
13. 13's enough. So Ethan strikes out and he starts leading the party and following the directions. It's pretty simple directions. It's not particularly dangerous land. And as you continue going, you eventually arrive in the town of Gravenhurst.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. So you have, as you're walking up, you can see like you're passing some farm fields and different things, and they were told you guys are have to zoom in to see. No. Don't put the
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Ah.
Up in the game, man.
Oh.
So you guys are all coming in.
Oh, I get to keep the little one.
Yay! I'm so tiny. Wow, I'm so tiny. Look at me.
So
go.
you're kind of walking in, and there's some various people just kind of working around, and they're kind of giving you some looks, and but they go about working their business. What do you guys do?
Find the local tavern. That's what I.
Okay. By doing what? What do you?
I want to see if there's any signs around here.
There are. There's a few various signs. As you walk, are you guys walking into town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
as you walk in further, stop moving your pieces. If you keep them together, I can do this. Hold, stop. I can do this.
Yes.
So as you guys are walking into town, you start to see a few signs. So as you guys look at it, there are signs that are in common, and then there are also signs that are in, and Jack is the only one to know this, halfling.
Cool.
Over.
So
I want to read aloud the halfling signs. if
so
they're
as you're reading it, there's just various ones. Some of them people have signs, it's prayers that are carved into their house, that are carved in halfling, and it's just like prayers for protection and for like well-being and for wealth and like various blessings trying to carved in. And as you're just kind of walking through town, there's various people, and you see one sign that is in common, and you all recognize it, and it has like a picture of a flask carved in,
Cool.
and it says the beggar's flask, and it has an arrow pointing. So what are you guys doing?
I guess we'll go.
Are you gonna just follow it and go straight to the inn?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys follow it and you end up here, the beggar's flask inn.
Before we go into the inn, I want to ask Jack something.
What do you want to ask?
I want to. Hey Jack, do you think one of us should stay somewhere else tonight and keep an eye out, because we still don't know who we're supposed to be meeting?
You mean one of us should be a lookout?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it'd be a good idea if we all stay in the same place.
We should stay in the same place, but we should have a lookout too. Just be careful. One of us should stay awake while two of us go to sleep.
I want to look around real quick. Is there any other inns near, like across the street or anywhere near within eyesight?
Not that you see. Do you want to ask around or ask about other inns or other places?
Let's take a better look at this. I want to see its layout.
Okay. I don't have a map for you on this. So you guys going to the inn?
Yeah, let's go inside and look at it.
So as you go in, it's kind of, it seems a pretty basic layout. As you walk in, right at the front, there's kind of a table over to the corner with a couple of chairs. You can see there's what appears to be a constable sitting in one of the chairs. You assume they're a constable. They're wearing what looks like ringmail armor. They have a spear. They have a shield, small shield. They have a helmet. And it's a halfling, and they have a symbol emblazoned. Even though it's ringmail, there's kind of like a metal plate at the front on the chest, and emblazoned on it is kind of like a tree with the sun rising like behind it, like where the trunk is shining out from behind it. So they appear to be some type of town guard of some kind. And then as you look out to the left, there's a few more tables. It's not a huge inn. And then there appears to be a door going somewhere. And then there is some stairs that lead upstairs. So as you walk in, one of the barkeep, who is a human, is like, how can I help you?
We would like a room, please.
You would like a room for all three of you?
No, I want my own room. Tired of sharing it.
Okay, well, at the moment we only have one other person who's staying here, but we have plenty of vacancies. We have enough for if you each want your own room.
I want a room.
Okay, you were given money for 3 rooms and told to each get a room.
Cool.
Tara gave you the money for that, so you're gonna get 3 rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
he's like,
I preferably would like a room like on the opposite side of the building of the other two. Not because I don't like them, but because I want to be spread out, as in case something does happen or an attack happens.
Are you saying this to the innkeeper?
I just tell the innkeeper, like, I look at them and I'm like, we should spread out our rooms for safety reasons, but I look at the innkeeper and I'm like, and kind of joking, I like point at the people behind me and like, I want to be away from those two.
He's like, well, we there's only one room that has another person in it. Do you want a room near the front or near the back or in the, like, what do you want?
I want it in the back.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose, are the other two of you okay with having a room near the front? Near the front meaning like right up the stairs.
A little bit towards the middle, would you? Do you got one there? In between?
He's like, oh, well, sure. But that'll put you closer together if you're okay with that.
Midway, yeah.
That's
okay. I suppose the dwarf's okay with it as well. So, anyways, I guess, do you have payment?
Aye, sir.
Alright, so he gives the money and he gives you...
Instead of handing him food at first, I pull out my ration. No, I don't want to pull out a ration. I just hand him money. But like, I fumble around with the ration, and then I'm like, no, that's not money. I'll put it back.
He's like, okay. And so, anyways, he's like, okay, fine. And, the money, he gets the money from each of you and, gets for the room. And, you know, he's like, okay, well, you know, have a good night. And then you hear, like, he says some kind of, like, mutters some kind of gibberish. Zacchaeus and Garen, you hear him, it's like, you know, or whatever. And you're like, what? And, Jack, you understand it. It's halfling. And, he basically says, like, don't let the crow get you, which is like a halfling saying for, like, good night that you know.
I'll repeat the phrase.
Hey,
Okay.
I want to see if I could tell if there's any other keys that was still there to other rooms that might, like, how many rooms are in this inn?
You don't see, like, where he's getting the keys from are, like, below, like, the desk. Do you want to ask him how many rooms, or?
Yeah, I want to ask him how many rooms are total in this inn.
He's like, oh, the total number of rooms, well, some of them, do you mean rooms for rent, or just rooms in general?
Rooms for rent.
He's like, okay, well, one room we have, the constable stays in, and, he generally just, lives here, since the incident, with his home, and, so we just let him stay here, and, we have one other room that is rented out, and, a couple of rooms that are used for storage. They're at the very, very back, so, you don't worry about going in those. Your key has a marking on it that will pertain to your room. All total rooms that we have that are open at the moment is probably, I would say, 12 rooms. Do you want to buy more rooms?
No, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Oh,
I want
okay.
to go talk to Jack now.
Okay. So you're gonna go talk to Jack?
Yeah. Hey, Jack.
Hmm.
How good are you at sleight of hand?
I want to say I'm decent. Am
Well, I'm going to see if I can distract the innkeeper, and you see if you can switch out our rooms with 3 other rooms keys.
Where is my sleight of hand, Matt?
Sleight of hand will be next to your dexterity.
Okay. I think I can fairly do that. I'm
Okay.
confident.
So,
Try to get them as close to our original rooms as possible, so we can keep an eye on what may come.
okay. So what are you wanting to do? Like, describe your actions.
I'm gonna go back to the innkeeper and ask him if he could see if he'll take me on a tour of the inn.
A tour of the inn. He's like, well, this is the main room, and he just kind of gestures, and he goes, behind that door that leads down to the cellar, that's where we keep the various ales, and of course mead, which is more popular among my halfling clientele. And he's like, upstairs are your rooms. He's like, you can't miss it. You go up the stairs, it's a hallway, there's rooms on either side.
Oh, hey, I go.
He's like,
over
I'm
to-
sure one of the other patrons could help you find your room if you ever. It's written. Do you read common?
I go over to Ethan's character. I can never remember.
Garen.
Garen.
If you
Garen.
mouse over it, it'll tell you the name.
And I say, "Hey, Garen, I think
Actually, I don't know
saw
if it
this
will on the
really
little ones.
shiny thing. Do you, per se, want to have the shiny thing?
I always want the shiny thing.
Okay, it's on the other side of the room, but you have to get to it fast.
Like how fast?
As fast as your little legs can take you.
My legs aren't little.
Okay, your big legs. As
Okay.
fast as they can throw you.
What does shiny thing look like?
Shiny thing looks like a halfling.
Wait, so just grab the halfling.
Yes.
Alright, so
Make a deception check, Jack.
Aye, aye. Hold on, I gotta get to my.
With your 18 charisma and plus 6 deception.
Wait, what?
13 plus what? Where's my charisma?
4.
Plus 6, so it's 19. So Ethan, you're gonna make a contesting perception. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be perception. I was gonna say, is this a wisdom saving throw? But it's not. Perception.
So my perception. Where's that at?
It's next to wisdom.
It's 1. I got 5.
So you look and you don't the halfling doesn't look shiny or anything, but you look like you go to. Are you just gonna go grab him, or what are you doing? You're convinced that the halfling is a shiny object somehow.
So like, while Zach was talking to, or Zacchaeus was talking to him, I walk around to the bar's like opening door, and like, how is that set up? Like, how do they get to the back door, like through that?
How do you get behind the counter where he is?
Yeah.
You could jump over the front of the counter, or you could go around the side. You know, like it's literally just a bar, and it like goes, and then it corners, but by the wall there's a gap.
All right.
So you just walk through.
Whichever way Zacchaeus is standing on, like, if he's standing on his left side, I want to come from the right side as to, like, sneak up behind him. And then when I get there, I want to grab his feet and, like, lift him in the air.
Okay, roll a stealth check.
I got a nat 1.
Okay, as you, like, start sneaking, the constable and the guy are both just, like, looking at you. It's very obvious that they're looking at you.
You're not helping, Ethan.
And, he's just, you know, just like, what are you guys are you hungry? Do you want ale? Like, you're standing around an awful lot. Do you want to go to bed? Or at least check out your rooms? It's about 4 p.m. ish. Early evening. So not quite the time you go to bed, but not quite you know, like morning or anything.
I lean over to the guy who's coming. What did you say his name was? The one that just talked.
You have no idea what his name is.
Oh, okay. So what did he say he was? A constable?
You believe he seems to be law enforcement of some kind. He's a halfling. He's got armor. He's got a spear. He's got a shield.
Can I roll to possibly just No, never mind. I just go to talk to him for a minute. I want to know about the town.
Okay.
Because I'm new.
I thought we were still trying to steal keys.
We are, but I'm trying to get the constable away from you, Mr. Klutz.
Right. I mean, they're just like looking at. I mean, I'm assuming that Garen stopped once he saw that they're like reacting to him being weird. What are you doing? I mean, I know you're saying what you're doing, but like you can just say like what you're saying. Does that make sense?
Is the innkeeper still focused on me?
I think he's
focused. I mean, he's kind of focused on all of you. He's just kind of watching. You know, he's just sitting there. He's kind of like cleaning out like these wooden mugs, and he's just kind of like he's starting to like look over at the constable and kind of he's like, these guys are being weird. They've been standing here a while.
So I actually want to like turn around and start to walk towards the constable. And once I get in range of like 2-3 feet, I want to like trip, like purposely trip and fall on top of the constable.
Okay. What is anyone else doing
I'm gonna
while this happens?
Well, I'm talking to him, so I'm asking him. I'm new in town, and I've never really been here, and I'm quite confused. what's this town's main, supplier? Not supply. Main things to do. I get bored easy.
Main supplier things. I don't really know what I mean. Are you looking for something in particular? Or are you wondering what we like? What if we have any commodities you produce? Oh my! What the? Get off of me! So he gets this dragonborn just kind of falls and is like skittering his feet and like leaning. He's kind of like pinned against the wall, and he's just like, oh, and he starts to. He's small, and he starts to like sleep.
I want to take me and the innkeeper. I want to tell the innkeeper, hey, help me get him off.
Okay. So the innkeeper's just like, I really don't know what and he's like hopped over the counter and he's like looking. He's like, I can't. This guy's like 30 feet tall. I can't. He's like tiny. He's like trying to. He's like, what can we do?
Be Jack's opportunity.
Yeah, Jack wants to go behind the counter real quick and do a little sleight of hand.
Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make your sleight of hand check with advantage because you are being assisted.
Okay. I'm gonna roll.
So that's some assistance.
And
so you roll twice.
Okay,
and
11.
And you take the better roll. So you roll again. Yeah. So 11.
11.
Plus 6. Alright, so that's... And you're just wanting to switch out your 3 room keys with 3 other room keys?
That are similar to the room
that is within visuals of the other rooms, but just different room keys, so they don't know exactly which one we're actually in.
Okay, you look and the keys, you're intelligent enough that you can tell the keys are like lined up in an order, and there are 5 keys or so missing that are there's what you assume are the 3 you have, and then there's 2 other ones missing. One is they're both next to rooms of yours. One is near the up front room, and one is near the back room.
Okay. I want to switch them all out with middle rooms.
Okay. You do so successfully. And you're just switching the 3 keys with 3 other keys.
Yeah.
So where are you putting the keys back?
I want to put them back in the empty slots that they look to go in.
Okay, so what I will say is because your roll is high enough, your character would know to leave gaps in the same spots where the gaps are, and so you're putting keys back in the wrong positions technically, but the gaps are where your keys are gapped. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the labels like don't match up, but the gaps do. So yeah, you switch that, and you have 3 middle room keys that are all right next to each other in the middle of the thing.
Yeah.
So you've done that, and you kind of slip over to this guy. You're like, all right, and you kind of nudging, and
I help with getting the big guy.
Yeah. You all are kind of on the up and up of what's happening now, and you get him off. As you're getting him off, you realize that the constable being small enough, and you sort of expected this to possibly happen. Jack he's able to he's able to move through the same space as someone else, so he's already slipped out, and he's he didn't notice what was happening or anything, but he slipped away and is just like, oh, and he just moves, and he goes to like another table in the end, and he has like a flask, and so he had his drink on him the whole time. There's nothing for him to pick up. He just leaves and goes to the other side of the inn, and he's like, are you guys gonna buy anything, go to your rooms, or get out?
I think we'll go to our rooms.
I grab I want room can I buy what it would be something similar, a glass of ale.
Okay.
Before I go to my room.
He's like, oh. Okay, yeah, what are you doing?
So I want to get the ale, but I wanted to know, I don't know the town. So I want to ask, is it all right if I take this up to my room with me? So the
He's like, I suppose. Do you? I'd prefer to keep all the mugs downstairs. Do you have anything you can carry it in?
Do I? Oh.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. I don't
Yeah,
have a
there is a flask that was in the clothing stuff that you never revealed to Zacchaeus or Garen. You do have a flask.
Okay, yeah. Then I tell him yes. Yeah, I do. Could you fill up my flask for me?
It's like, sure, flask with ale, and he grabs it and he shakes it a bit and he's like, well, do you want me to just top it? There's something already in it. Do you want me to just top it off, or?
Hand it back to me for a minute.
Alright, he hands it back to you.
I open it up and smell.
Alright, you smell it. It's alcohol. That's all you know.
Take a swig.
It's very, very strong alcohol. It has like a, almost like a, like it's a very deep. Your character has drank a lot before, in its past, and even though he's young and a halfling, that's kind of like the life that he lived, and he hasn't really tasted it too much before. It has a little bit of like leather and like charcoal notes to it. It's very it's a very strong alcohol, and it's not like a particularly good taste, but it's very strong. Go ahead, let's say make a we'll just say make a d20 check. No specific check, just roll. Yeah, you don't know. It's just alcohol.
I have no idea. Okay, well, instead of popping that off, I just kind of frown and go, well, just give me a glass of ale. I'll drink it down here real quick.
Okay, so gives you the ale. You're just chugging it, or?
No, I want to go sit in a corner and kind of be a lookout for a little bit, and I gesture for Zachariah to come over to me real quick.
Okay, so are you going with her to the corner, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's ale and something else, right? Like, what's the other alcoholic drink they have?
Are you gonna ask?
Yeah.
Probably should ask.
It's like, we have a few different things. It's we have an ale. We have what we refer to as a wine, but it's really more of an ale that's made primarily from apples. And then of course we have mead. That's probably our biggest seller with our halfling clientele. I'm quite surprised that halfling appears to want ale, but most of the halflings here they prefer mead. And you know what mead is. Mead is a honey based alcohol. It's like a honey wine, honey beer. It's like and we have we don't have too many more alcohols. Maybe down in the cellar we may have some other things, but
I just kind of look at him and I go, I'll take your strongest one.
Our strongest one here, or the strongest we have in the cellar?
Strongest one you have in the cellar.
So he's like, okay. He brings up this. It's almost like a barrel but smaller, and it's like a small cask, and it's huge. He's like, well, I really only sell this by the cask. I don't really want to unseal it for a simple glass. He's like, but if you wanted, I could sell you a single mug, our tallest mug, for 20 gold, or I can sell you the entire cask for a clean 450. You know this is a very expensive alcohol.
It's like 450 gold.
He's like, nobody really likes it. It's a dwarven stout. from the, and this is where I'm going to ask Zach, make up a dwarven family name, brewer name. You get to make up the name.
Make it now.
Make up a brewery name for Dwarven?
Yeah, like a dwarvish brewery name. You know, like how we have like Jack Daniels and we have McDonald's.
Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo Coco.
Johan's.
Marvin.
Johan's Mountain Brewery. I don't know.
He's like, all right, we have, this is from a dwarven stout from the Johann family. It's an import from Osrin. I mean, it's quite expensive.
Could I, like, how much debt would I be in if I bought the pass?
Too much.
Are you asking him?
I'm asking you because I don't know how much gold I have.
Oh, are you asking me how much gold you have?
Yeah.
You have 0 gold.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have any gold.
I'll just tell him, can I get the mug of it? I'm just gonna go with it.
Just the mug?
Just the mug.
That's 20 gold. You don't have any gold. And it's very expensive alcohol. Alyssa has 100 gold. You and Zacchaeus do not have gold.
How did Alyssa get so low?
Because she didn't get much value in her other items, and so she got it via gambling.
Oh, okay.
Because of her character and background. See, I'll put it this way. Look at the cost of her gear and items and look at yours. So we can go to chainmail, that's 75. Shield, that's 10. Warhammer, 15. Dagger, 2. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, hers are all pretty.
Now, you all are getting a little less gold than what you would normally have. But at this point in the story, you don't have gold.
I kind of like look over at Jack and I'll be like, hey, can you front the bill for me, man?
Maybe, but I might just have to put you in debt to me.
I'll protect you the next time we're in battle.
How about for the rest of our journey, big guy?
If I make it that far.
You got a deal.
Alright, so you're buying him a mug of the ale?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, goody goody. And he's like, well, we made quite a bit today. And he gives you the mug of ale. So you now have this mug of Johann Osrin Stout.
But before I give it to my buddy there, I want to smell it too.
Okay.
Take a sip.
So, well, it was given. You gave him the money, and they gave the mug to Garen.
They
so
gave it to Garen? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought they gave it to me.
No.
Yeah.
Are you asking him if you can smell it?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Garen if I can smell the ale.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, you smell it, and you recognize it smells very strong, and you take a slight sip. It tastes similar to what's in your flask.
Okay. And then I give it back to Garen and say, you'll do well with that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So you're drinking it?
Are we all at the
I'm
corner
gonna drink.
table now?
I'm gonna drink it over there with Jack and Zacchaeus.
Okay, so you're sipping. And what are you doing right now, Zacchaeus? You getting a drink? You getting anything?
No, I was gonna. Jack asked me to come over to the corner to talk to her.
Okay.
Are we all at the table now?
Yeah, you're all at the table talking. Do you guys want to continue, or do you want to end the session?
Let's end it here.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like this is a good ending point.
Yeah, we're all at the corner table right before we go to bed. It's great.
All right, so you're all sitting in the corner, and you're talking and sharing various things, talking about your trip, kind of showing off your gear a little bit to each other and things like that. And that is going to conclude today's session.
Awesome.
Party.
All right.
Yay.
All right, guys. Peace.